Sivka Burka. In the Russian folk tales, there was an old man named Enros, who had 3 sons. The eldest, Artyom, and the middle son, Alexander, were known for their handsome looks, strong bodies, and sharp minds. The youngest son, Ivanushka, was quite the opposite, unattractive, slow-witted, and often found spending his days and nights by the fireplace. The old man was a farmer who grew wheat in his fields. When the wheat was ripe and ready to be harvested, a thief started coming at night to destroy the crops and steal the ears of wheat. The old man, frustrated, said to his sons, "My dear sons, it's crucial that we guard the wheat every night to catch this thief who is ruining our crops and wasting our hard work and money." The father decided that his 3 sons would take turns guarding the wheat field each night. On the first night, the eldest son, Artyom, went to guard the wheat, but he climbed up to the grain storage and slept until morning. The next day, he lied to his father, saying, "I stayed awake all night, it was a cold night, but I didn't see the thief." The second night, the middle son, Alexander, went to guard the wheat. Like his brother, he too fell asleep all night in the hay storage. When it was Ivanushka's turn on the third night, he carried his belongings to the field and sat on a stone, staying awake and alert. The hours passed slowly until midnight when Ivanushka saw a beautiful horse running through the wheat. This was no ordinary horse. It had one hair of gold and one hair of silver. The horse galloped between the wheat, causing the ground to shake and smoke to rise from its ears, with fire blazing from its nostrils. It ate the ears of wheat and trampled many plants. Ivanushka carefully approached the horse and threw a rope around its neck. Surprised, the horse bolted, but Ivanushka, being determined, tied the rope to some wooden stakes in the field. The rope tightened around the horse's neck until it nearly choked, making the horse stop moving. The horse cautiously approached Ivanushka, and, to his surprise, began to speak, asking him his name. After recovering from his shock, Ivanushka told the horse his name. The horse responded, "And I am called Sivka Burka." The horse then pleaded, "Let me go, Ivanushka, and I will do you a great favor in return." Ivanushka agreed but asked how he would find the horse again. The horse told him, "Go to the open field and whistle 3 times, then call out loudly, 'Sivka Burka, stand before me as a leaf before grass, and I will come to you.'" The horse also promised not to destroy the wheat anymore. Ivanushka untied the horse and let it go, then returned home. His father and brothers asked him what happened, and Ivanushka replied, "I caught a magical talking horse, and it promised not to come to the wheat again, so I let it go." His family was furious, but since that night, the wheat remained untouched. One morning, the emperor's men traveled through the villages, announcing a grand celebration at the royal palace that would last 3 days. They invited everyone, rich and poor alike, to witness a competition where the winner, who could leap to the princess's balcony and take the ring from her hand, would marry her. Many people dreamed of winning the competition, including Ivanushka's brothers, who eagerly prepared for the journey. They readied their horses and packed their belongings, while Ivanushka asked to join them. His brothers mocked him, saying, "Where are you going, you fool? Do you want to scare people? Stay here and clean the fireplace." The brothers left, leaving Ivanushka behind, who felt deeply sad. He longed to see the celebration and taste the delicious food and drinks. His father went to work in the field, and Ivanushka, feeling lonely, took a basket to pick mushrooms. Remembering the horse, Ivanushka left the basket, whistled 3 times, and called out, "Sivka Burka, stand before me as a leaf before grass." The horse appeared, galloping towards him, shaking the ground, smoke billowing from its ears, and fire blazing from its nostrils. The horse welcomed Ivanushka, who climbed into its right ear and emerged from the left, transformed into a handsome young man in fine clothes. Riding Sivka Burka, Ivanushka went to the emperor's palace to join the celebration. In front of the palace, he saw people gathered, looking up at the balcony where the beautiful princess sat, holding a ring that shone like the sun. Young men and warriors attempted to leap to her balcony but failed, falling injured or losing their horses. Sivka Burka whispered to Ivanushka, who then spurred the horse. The horse leapt 3 times, each higher than the last, getting closer to the balcony but not quite reaching it. The crowd was amazed, and Ivanushka saluted the princess before turning and riding away. Striking his brothers with a silk whip as he passed, he said to his brothers' wives, "Here is some mushrooms for you." The daughters-in-law were angry with Ivan. "What is this food you brought, you idiot? You are the only one who eats this mushroom. Where is the food you went out to bring us?" Ivanushka smiled without answering and lay in front of the fireplace again. The brothers returned home and told their father and wives what they had seen in the city. While Ivanushka was lying in front of the fireplace, he laughs in a low voice, happy with his adventure. The next day, Ivanushka repeated the process, appearing at the palace in his handsome form. He went out into the field, blew his whistle 3 times, and called in a loud voice, "Sivka Burka, stand before me like a leaf in front of the grass." The horse came running and immediately stopped in front of him. Ivanushka entered the right ear of the horse Sivka Burka and came out of the left ear in his beautiful form again and galloped go to the palace courtyard. Ivanushka saw that there were more people in the square than before. Everyone admires the princess, but no one even thinks about jumping. Here Ivanushka hit his horse with his feet, and the horse jumped and approached the princess's window again, but did not reach it. Ivanushka turned his horse, whipped his brothers with his silk whip as he passed, and then galloped away. The brothers returned home, and Ivanushka was already lying in front of the fireplace, listening to what his brothers were saying, and laughing. On the 3rd day, the brothers again went to the palace, and Ivanushka also rode on Sivka Burka's horse and beat him with a whip. The horse became angrier than ever, jumped up and actually reached the window, and Ivanushka kissed the princess on her beautiful lips. He grabbed the ring, but was unable to remove it from her hand. Ivanushka got off his horse and ran away, not forgetting to hit his brothers with the silk whip. The king and the princess started shouting, "Seize him, seize him." But Ivanushka disappeared without a trace. Ivanushka returned home. One of his hands was wrapped in a cloth. So his brothers' wives asked him, "What happened to you, Ivanushka?" He said, "While I was looking for mushrooms, 2 thorns from the surrounding branches pricked me." Then Ivanushka sat in front of the fireplace. The brothers came and started telling the father and their wives what happened and how this knight was able to reach the princess and then disappear after her. Ivanushka lifted the cloth from his hand and a light came out that illuminated the entire hut. Then his brothers shouted at him, "Stop playing with fire, you fool. You will burn the hut down again. It is time to kick you out of the house completely, you idiot." After 3 days, the king summoned all the people in his kingdom to gather with him for his feast, and no one shied away from the invitation and remained in his house. And whoever neglects the call, the king will kill him and remove his head from his shoulders. The old father himself and his entire family had to go to the palace, so they all went to the feast and sat at tables. Would they drink and eat and talk? At the end of the feast, the princess began offering honey from her own hands to the guests, and walked around everyone and approached Ivanushka. It was why he wore an old dress, covered in black dirt, and one of his hands was tied with a dirty rag. The princess asked him eagerly, "Why is your hand tied like that? Unlock it, please." Ivanushka opened his hand, and as soon as the princess's ring mark appeared on Ivanushka's hand, the ring on the princess's finger gave off a light that dazzled everyone. Then the princess took Ivanushka's hand and led him to her father, the king. She said with joy and happiness, "This, father, is my fiancé." The servants took Ivanushka to the royal bath, and he bathed, and the servants combed his hair, and dressed him in a royal dress, and he became a beautiful man. Even his father and brothers looked at him and could not believe their eyes. Everyone celebrated the wedding of the princess and Ivanushka in a legendary ceremony. The king held banquets for the entire kingdom with the most delicious food, until the memory of her remains to this day.
The end of this episode from Shahrazad's YouTube channel. We hope you enjoyed our journey through the corridors of myths and folktales that encapsulate the cultures of the world and narrate the greatest of human dreams and aspirations. Don't forget to leave your comments about the story we shared today and share the video with your friends to spread the magic and wonders these tales hold. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to receive all updates. Until we meet in the next episode, always remember that behind every story, there is a deep wisdom waiting to be discovered. Goodbye.